screen. Share my screen. Entire screen. Screen 1. Stream. Okay. So, lovely. Um, I don't know if you could hear me. You couldn't hear me, so you wouldn't have gotten what I was saying. But what you want to do is you want to open up. Is anyone actually in front of their computer with Unreal open?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So,
Excuse me, before you carry on,
yeah, what's
um,
up?
I'm not able to. First off, your work is incredible and a
Thanks,
big
man.
inspiration for me. It's incredible your
Hell yeah.
analog horror, how you do that. It's incredible
Thank you.
um how you do it through the style of like in the moment visual recording, if that's the right word for it.
Mm.
Before after that, what I want to say is that I'm not able to do work right now, but I'm able to do so during the weekend.
Okay,
So
yeah,
this
I'm
is being
recording it,
recorded,
so
right?
yeah, I'm recording it here now, so it should ideally, um, it should, should ideally work. If it doesn't, I'll just fucking record it again. Um,
Perfect. And published on YouTube or on
yeah,
Discord
yeah.
as
So it's
well.
actually on. It's live on YouTube. I don't know if it's actually working because I don't really know any of this shit works, but it should
That's
be.
excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, man. So yeah, I'm just gonna hop right into it, but um, yeah. So assuming, okay, so there's also for anyone, there's a few people in YouTube. There's a Discord I'm also streaming on, so if you have any questions, you can just ask me there. Um, so what you need to do is you need to create a new project. That's like the first step. You want to use the first person template because that's just some random shit that it will be easier to do all these things together. Um, let's just start really basic, right? So it's not going to be super exciting. Um, but it'll be important things that you need to do to make the cool things, and I think that'll be good. Um, so right now there's this first person map, assuming everyone can see it. Um, you can pick up a gun and go boo, 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 boo. Cool stuff. We don't really want to do any of that, so that's okay.
Holy shit, that scared me.
Uh, I'm sorry.
So,
No, that was
I was
extraordinarily loud.
I was watching something out of nowhere. I hear gunfire. I was like, "Who's shooting?"
So I'm just gonna delete the gun because I don't think we need the gun. Um, and I think so. I mean, basically, all we want is a character that can move around. Be like boop doop doop boop boo. Hold on, let's see here. Oh, okay. Someone's from. Hello. Um, so so yeah, you have a little thing. You can walk around. That's cool. We don't really need that, but that's fine. We're gonna do Window Content Browser. We're gonna put this bad Larry down here. Cool. So, okay. So, why is my screen going, whatever, my screen's going dark. Um, all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into, we're going to make a folder. You don't have to do any of these things, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to call it interaction because I think the first thing we're going to do is do some interaction shit because you want to be able to interact with things as a player and as a developer. So what we're going to do is there's a few different ways to do this. I'm sure there's a million ways you can find online that are different, but this is the way I kind of like it. So there's something called an actor. Okay, sorry. Okay, so in Unreal, there are things called blueprints, and those are kind of like. So here's the first person blueprint. We're going to open it up. It's got a bunch of different things. It's got your collision capsule, so that means you can't go through the floor. It's got your camera mesh, first person mesh, which in this case is just your arms. Um, and so right now we could build the interaction code into the first person character, right? Which would be great. It'd work and you do all the cool things. The issue I have with just building it into a singular actor, right, is that say we want to have a different character. Say you want to switch characters halfway through and you're crawling through a tunnel or something and you want that. Um, it would be you'd have to copy it all over, copy all the variables, copy all the shit, copy all the code. And that's kind of annoying. So what I do is I create components which are modular, which means you can just add it and it adds all the functionality of that component to the actor, which is kind of confusing, I realize. but I'm hoping it'll become more obvious as we go forward. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a blueprint. We're going to go blueprint class, and we're going to do actor component. I'm going to call this BPC, which is blueprint component for short, interaction. And at any point, please stop me if you are confused. So BPC interaction, and then we're going to put that over here. I'm going to create another thing called blueprint interface. I'm going to call this BPI, blueprint interface interaction, or we can just call it interaction, just to keep it simple. All right, so we're going to open this up, and it's going to say new function, which seems confusing and crazy, but we're just going to call it interact. That's it. Great. So we're going to save everything. We're going to go over here to the content browser. We're going to hit save all. It'll compile everything. It'll save everything. We're going to go save selected. So an interface is basically something that allows two different actors, which is like everything is an actor, right? So this is an actor, this is an actor, Sky is an actor, anything can be an actor. What they are, so this is a static mesh actor, right? So it's not moving. There's a skeletal mesh and there's a static mesh. Static mesh would just be anything that isn't a skeleton. And so these are all actors. And if you want them to communicate, there are many different ways of doing that. An interface is a way of doing that that is very simple and performant and is perfect for interactions. So what we're going to do, hold on, let me see here. I think, let's see here. Sorry, I'm just going to check something quick. First person, blueprints, gun. Where's the rifle? So there should be this already built in. Let's see here. Okay. 1 second, everybody. So where's the shooting? Sorry, I want to figure out where the shooting is because I want to steal it. And we're going to call it gun. Okay. Folder view. 1 second, everybody. Reference viewer. Where's the reference viewer? Come on, reference viewer. I don't see it. Is it in my other screen? I don't know. Whatever. Okay, so basically there should be. Okay, we're going to say IA shoot. Okay, cool, awesome. We're going to say where is that? Where the frick is the reference viewer? I don't know. Okay, well, that's annoying. But, okay, so in your project, if you type in IA, which stands for, input action. Okay, input action. That's basically just anything, right? So anything you do for input would be an input action. So jumping, moving, all those are going to be input actions. We want shoot because in this one, we're just going to click and it's going to interact and it's going to be pretty wild. And again, if you're like, what the fuck, I'm really confused, just say something and we can figure it out. So yeah, we're going to right click on the BPC interaction, I should say, and say IA shoot. Cool. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pull off of this. So it says triggered. We're going to pull off of that, and we're going to type in print string, which when we're playing, if we do the thing, it should say hello in the corner of the screen to let us know that it is firing correctly. If we don't see anything, then we know this for some reason isn't working. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our first person character. Right over here, we're going to type add, and we're going to say BPC interaction. And we're going to save. So to repeat, all we did was we grabbed the enhanced input action shoot, we pulled off into print string, and then we added that to our Fever decided to upload and thought this guy's so now it's just a picture of Unreal loading. It's super cool. I love you too, Fever. Sorry. There's also YouTube, and there's Discord and YouTube. So if anyone has any questions in either, I'll try to figure it out.
Hell yeah, man. Bro's giving us free lessons, man.
Yeah. But again, if I'm going too fast, let me know.
Nah, it's all good, bro.
Hell
You're
yeah.
actually taking your time on this.
I'm trying, but it's also like
Nah.
it's pretty it's pretty
Pretty big.
it's pretty big. I also do it a lot. So if it gets like when you assume things are easier than they are because you've done them 1,000 times.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
So if you get lost, let me know. We can work through it. But
Got you.
so what we're gonna do is we're gonna test it, right? So this our first person character has the interaction component, and we're gonna press play. And if we click, it should print string. And guess what? It isn't doing it, which means something is overriding it. So what we're going to do is we're going to press play, we're going to hit the asterisk, and we're going to do debug enhanced input. And for some reason, it ain't showing up. Okay. Oh, you know what? Why? Hold on, sorry. I got to figure out why the reference viewer is not showing, because I need to know where it's... Bro, come on. Okay. Okay, we're just gonna go to folder view, inputs, input default. Oh, IMC weapons. That does shoot, I believe. Shoot. Okay. So, for some fucking reason, pardon my French again. Is this it? Aha, it is. Those little bastards. Okay. So, this must be, yes, okay. So, what we're going to do is, I don't know why it's doing all this. Oh my god, it's so stupid. Okay. So you're going to type into your content browser IMC default, which is, I'm trying to think of a way to describe it. It's basically a collection of inputs. And so you can disable or enable inputs based on what you need, which is really awesome because if you were, running around shooting things and then you jump into a tank and you want to enable tank controls while also disabling running around controls, like you can do that really simply and really easily. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up IMC default. We're going to add a mapping to be shoot. It should just be, okay, we're going to hit this little triangle next to it. We should drop down this. And then under none, we're going to do left mouse button. Done. So this means that as soon as we start, the shoot button will be enabled. Before, it was being enabled through the weapons, but because we're not using weapons, we don't need to enable it at a different time. So if we press play, aha, and we click, it should say hello in the very corner of the screen because it's firing, which is fantastic. Which is great. Okay, cool. So let's go back to this. And now we're going to make let's see here, we're going to make an interaction object. So we're going to say, make a new blueprint class, and we're just going to do regular, normal actor. And we're going to call this BP interaction object base. So it's like, the way Unreal works sometimes, you can do is child and parent blueprint classes. So if you set something up, you can make a child of that, and so you can change a bunch of things, but it'll share the same characteristics as the parent, which can be really good when you're trying to find certain objects or you're trying to do different things without having to redo it over and over again. So we're going to open this up, and we're going to do class settings. There's class defaults, class settings. It's right here in the middle of the screen in this little thing. And the left-hand side, right-hand side of the details panel is implemented interfaces. I'm going to put it over here, implemented interfaces. I'm going to click add. I'm going to type in interaction, and BPI interaction should come up. So basically this is telling Unreal that if you were to tell this thing to do this function, it says, hey, I implement the interface, like I can do the things you want me to do because I'm hanging out with that interface. So we're going to double click on this, and that just creates an event. So double click on interfaces. So there's graphs, functions. I'm going to move my mouse around a lot so you guys can see it. I'm sure I'll get better at this as I go, but I'm winging it here. And again, if you get lost, let me know. So this basically means that if something tells this actor to fire this event, it will. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do the print string again. So we're going to do print string. We're going to say interacted. So we can go, okay, cool. If all the things fire as they should, it'll be interacted with, which is very cool. And now we're going to go back to BPI interaction, and we're going to actually create the function that does all the things we needed to do. And so we're going to create a function, which is basically something that you need to repeat over and over again. And so instead of having to write it out here, you can write it out in a function. That way, if you want to pull from it in different areas, you can without having to copy and paste and all the jazz. It'll make more sense as we do more of it, but right now you just need to know it is like a little puzzle piece that you can keep moving around. So we're going to create this, and we're going to say, what should we call it? Check if interactable. I'm always really bad at doing these things. So we're going to do check if interactable, which is not a great thing to call it. You can call it something else if you want, but basically we want to fire out a ray trace, but not in the way you're thinking. And it's going to hit an actor, and it's going to say, hey, if you implement this thing, do stuff. So we're going to do line trace by channel. So line trace by channel. And I can show you what that is in a moment, but we need to create a variable. And it's going to be a camera. So we're going to say camera component. So type in camera, go down to here to component, and click object reference. This will be the player camera. So we're going to take the camera location, and we're going to shoot out a ray. And then, okay, yes, I'm getting very distracted. It's no worries, anyone. It's recording, so it'll be up for a while. Also, it might be just confusing as all hell, in which case I can always do this again. But there's probably a better way to start that's simpler, but I feel like the problem is if you do a bunch of fundamental things for a while that are really boring, it'll be kind of it's hard to stay interested because you're like, I want something cool. I want to see something cool. And so we're gonna do some cool shit. We're gonna call this camera component player camera, and then we're gonna pull it here. So check if interactable, line trace by channel. So we want to know the start location, and we want to know where it's ending, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to get world location. And so that basically, there's relative location and there's world location. Relative is if I go, hey, meet me at a coffee shop, right? And I go, where are you at the coffee shop? You say, oh, I'm in the back of the coffee shop. So like, okay, I'm a minute walk from the coffee shop. So the distance I am a minute from relative to the coffee shop. Whereas the world location would be saying I am like longitude, latitude, right? So like if you don't know where the coffee shop is, relative location is pretty useless. Um, a minute from something that you don't know is like it's not very useful. So we don't care what the player camera's location is relative to the player character. We want to know where it is in the entire world. Those specific things. Yeah. So that is going to be the start location. That's where it's going to shoot out the ray to see if the thing is interactable. And now we're going to say get forward vector, which is a confusing. Today was special. Today hopefully is special, and you can learn something. Forward vector is basically. It sounds more confusing than it is, but there are three vectors, right? There's x, y, z. X is forward, y is right or left, z is up or down. Getting the forward vector is getting basically, if we're looking at something, if I'm looking at a door in the game and I click on the button and I want to interact with the door, I don't give a fuck, or I don't give a crap what is to my right or to my left. I care about what's in front of me. What is the forward, what is in front of the character. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to, this is always a forward vector. You can also get right vector or up vector, which would be z and y. It's always, if it's a forward vector, it'll be 1, 0, 0. So 1 x, 0 y, 0 z. That's like the 3 dimensions. And so that's awesome because it tells you which like direction is forward for the actor, but it's not very big, right? So like if I want to know what's 500 units in front of me, then I have to multiply that vector by something. Otherwise it's just 1 unit in front of you. So we're just going to do multiply the forward vector. We're going to change this. We're going to right click on it and we're going to change to float because we want to multiply everything by a certain number. And we're going to say, let's say 500. This could be anything. So I'm choosing 500 because that's the distance in front of me that I want to be able to interact with something. If you picked 50,000, you could, but then 50,000 units, let's say a mountain, you'd be able to interact with, which, up to you. Okay, so what we're doing is we're taking the player camera's location, we're finding 500 units in front of that, and that's going to be the end location. So if we just put that in here, it would be the location of the end of this ray. And when you visualize it, which we can, it'll make more sense. We don't want it to be, we want it to be added to the world location of the camera because we want it 500 units in front of that specific location, not 500 units in front of the origin point of the world. And again, these are all very specific terms that mean stuff to me. So if they don't mean stuff to you, let me know and I can talk about it more. What we're going to do is just for now, we're going to say draw debug type persistent. And so it's going to draw this ray so we can see, hey, is it 1, is it actually drawing what we want it to? And 2, is it come from the right, excuse me. I just got back from LA, and so I talked a lot, and my voice is, I kind of lost my voice up until yesterday. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the function, check if interactable, and we're going to drag it in front of this, and it's going to highlight triggered, and we're going to let go. And that will just connect it to this. So instead of doing, we're going to delete this because we figured out it works. Awesome. So something that, so right now, right, we have player camera, it's doing all this cool stuff. The problem is right now this variable is empty. So we created a variable, camera component, but if you do this, it's going to go, okay, cool, like, so imagine like I go, hey, I need an orange, right? Like that could be any orange. You could go to the store. You could be an orange in my apartment. It could be an orange in the grocery store. It's just conceptually it is an orange. Um, but in this instance, we don't want an orange. We want a specific orange. And unless we tell the the engine which specific orange, or in this case camera, we're talking about, it's just going to go like, I can do things with it because you tell me it is a modifier orange or camera, but I can't change a specific thing, or I can't pull a specific location data because I don't know which one you're talking about. So what we want to do is we're going to go back into, actually, how should we do this? Okay. There's ways to do this that are more modular and easier to do, but I feel like it's kind of confusing and it requires a lot more steps. We're going to do something very simple. We're going to go back into the first person character blueprint. So this is the character that you're interacting with the world as. And we're going to right click again. Right click is always to create new things. You right click, type in begin play. So this is an event that fires as soon as the game starts. So I press play and every event begin play in the entire level fires at the same time. Sometimes it causes issues because you want things to happen beforehand, and you can use the construction script, which would be like if I wanted to, I don't know, change the material of something in a procedural way. So I wanted to create a level where every light was a different color. I could do a construction script and it would just change it, but we're not going to do that, and we don't need to know about it. We're going to grab BBC interaction. We're going to take it, grab it. So this is saying, hey, this specific thing that we have in our blueprint, we're going to pull off of that, and we're going to type in player camera. So we're going to get the player camera variable in this interaction component, and we're going to set it. So we're going to tell it. So right now, again, if we're continuing the orange analogy, right now it is an orange. And we're going to say, no, we don't want an orange. We want this specific orange, the one that's on my countertop. And so you go, boom. Okay, cool, awesome. This is the specific camera that we're using, and as soon as it starts, it does that, and assuming you don't press the interact button like the millisecond the game starts, it should be okay. So I'm going to hit play, and I'm going to move around for a second. I'm going to go, okay, fire. Oh, look at that. Fired. So this right here is the debug trace. So if I click again, it's creating all these different rays, and if you notice, it's not hitting anything. So it's hitting this, and if it were actually firing and no, actually, no. It's the red square says it's hitting something, which is good. We want it to hit things because that's what tells us what interacts with stuff. And so, cool. This is great. It gets really confusing if you leave it on, but we're gonna leave it on because we want to know. It's for debugging, right? So you want to know if things are working. This totally worked, so it's awesome. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back into BPC interaction. I'm just gonna save everything as well. I'll upload this project file to I don't know, like Google Drive or something, so anyone who's like kind of confused and is like, what the fuck happened, or what the heck happened, you can just download it and be like, okay, like here's something that I missed, and cool. So we're gonna go back to the line trace by channel in BBC interaction. There's a lot of different line traces, by the way, if you're looking. And they all have a purpose. We're doing a line trace by channel. Profile and for objects serve a really specific and awesome purpose, but it's a more specific use case, and I think for this we don't really need it. So we're going to take out hit. Usually blue means it's a structure, and structures you can break into their parts. So out hit, we're going to go, okay, here's all the shit that happens every time you shoot out a ray trace, or line trace rather, but it's effectively a ray trace. So blocking hit, right? So basically the way we're going to do this is we're going to start very broad, and then we're going to get more and more and more specific. So we're shooting out an array, and we go, okay, did it hit anything? If it didn't hit anything, we don't care about it because, I mean, again, if we're trying to figure out what is interactable, we're trying to find an object that has this specific interface. And if it didn't hit anything, then we can stop it right now and be like, okay, like, we don't need to worry about it because we didn't hit anything. So this is a branch. It's a Boolean, so it's true or false, binary 0, 1. And so what we're doing is we're saying, hey, did it hit anything? It did. Awesome. So we're going to go, okay, well, take the hit actor, which is whatever object that we hit. We're going to go, okay, cool. We're going to say implements. Does the object implement the interface? Which sounds confusing, but basically we are, I'm trying to think of a better way of explaining this. Let's do oranges again, right? And so we want mandarin oranges, specifically mandarin oranges. So, I'm looking at I'm at the grocery store and I'm like, okay, I'm reaching my hand out, right? And if I don't hit anything, then I'm not worried about what kind of orange it is or let's just keep it regular oranges. I want oranges. I'm like really fucking into oranges. And so I'm grabbing things, and if I don't grab anything, it makes no difference. If I do grab something, okay, does it implement the interface? Is it of the fruit class, we'll say. And so we're going to type in the class BPI interaction, which is, again, the interface we're using to both interact with these objects, but also to check to see if it's even worth communicating with in this kind of strange interface. And so okay, we're going to say branch again. And so I'll create a little note here. It says, hey, did I hit anything? I did. Okay, cool. Does it use the interface I need? No? Then I don't care about it. And we're going to take this and we're going to right click on hit actor, and we're going to do promote to variable. Basically, I want to refer to this actor without having to, we are going to interact with the thing that we hit with the line trace. We can keep pulling from this, but it's kind of a pain in the ass. So what I'm going to do is just save it as a variable so that I can refer to it later without having to go back here. Hey, Jim, I can't see your I appreciate you too, man. Oh, yeah. That's Luke, or KV3. We've done some one-on-one stuff because he's super into it, and I was like, hey, do you want to learn how to do this? And I was like, you know what? Maybe more people want to learn how to do this, which is why we're here. So Luke, you are to thanks for, I don't know, my brain is exploding. Basically, we're going to save it. If it does implement the interface, we want to save it. We want to refer to it later. If it doesn't, we're going to say clear it. Clear the variable, because we don't want, it'll come back later, just trust me, but we want to clear the variable. So, are we good? Yes. Okay. So, and we're going to do, what should we do here? Okay. There are better ways to do this, but I'm going to do this very quickly. We're going to do add return node. You don't really actually need to do this. It only is, well, we're going to do it anyway because I think it's important. But checked if interactable. So we're going to do this. We can say get hit actor. We're going to go back to the event graph. So we were in check if interactable. We're going back to the event graph. We're grabbing hit actor. We're going to grab off of that. We're going to say, we're going to type in valid. Is valid. which basically, this is a macro, which is, if you double click on it, it is basically, a macro is a series of other codes that fire, basically, in a more succinct, easily small byte. And so what we're doing is we're checking, does this have a specific reference? So is this saying, hey, all oranges, or is it saying, hey, this is a specific orange? And if it's a specific orange, we want to do stuff with it. If it's just talking about general oranges, we don't care. So hence if it's not valid, if it has no label, we don't care, so we're not going to do anything. If it is valid, we are going to go off of here, and we're going to type interact. So there are a lot of versions of this. Actually, right now there's interact, blah, blah, blah. You want to make sure that it says interact message. I don't know why. There's a reason, I'm sure, but I don't know it. But this says if the object, the hit actor, implements the interface, do that event, right? So if we look back here, we go, okay, we press fire, we check if interactable, which is all this stuff. So we fire out the ray, we go, hey, like, does it hit anything? Does it implement the interface? If it does, save the actor. If it doesn't, clear the actor. And then we go, okay, you did all that. Is it valid? Did you find the right thing, or is it nothing? If you did find something correct, interact with it. So I hope that sort of makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. So what we're going to do is, okay, so we need something now to interact with. Right now, nothing in this level implements the interact interface. So I could click around, it would hit things, but it would never go, oh yeah, you implement this interface. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the object base, and we're going to add a cube. Just a regular old cube, just so we can go, oh, that's something. We're going to go back to the content browser, and we're going to drag it off. So this is an interactable object because it has a mesh that has collision. You don't have to worry about this, but it automatically, by default, has collision, which is what we want. I'm going to close this down, close this down, close this down. And we have an event that says, hey, when you've done all the interaction things, I say, hey, I interacted, to prove that it actually interacted. So we're going to go here, we're going to press play, and we go, boom. Oh, look at that. In the corner, if you look, it says, hey, interacted. Which means that, again, it's going to go over again. Boo, 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 boo. So again, just to kind of rehash it, right now we have our first person character. When the game starts, we tell our interaction blueprint component, which we created, which specific camera it needs to do all the calculations, which is our first person camera. We're saying, okay, cool. So then in our interaction component that we created, whenever we press shoot, it shoots out a ray that starts at our player camera location, and it goes out 500 units from that location. And if it hits anything at all, it continues, and it goes, okay, well, did the thing that I hit implement the interface? Does it have the required, like, it's like you're trying to get to a show, and the interface right now is the ticket. So it goes, okay, like, are you trying to get into the show? Yes. Do you have the right ticket? Yes. If not, they go, get the hell out of here. So to kind of show, okay, what we're going to do is, this will be really simple, but I think it'll demonstrate. It'll visually demonstrate what you're doing, right? We could do a door and all that jazz, but I think that's getting into a little more complexity than we want. Um, so what we're going to do is we're going to find this. We're going to right click on the BP interaction object base, and at the top is create child blueprint class. That's what we want. We want to create a child blueprint class. We're going to say BP red light, green light. It's gonna be red, and then when you click on it, it's gonna turn green, which is not gonna blow anyone's minds, but I feel like it's specific enough that we can be like, okay, cool, we did something, we interacted with the world, and the world changed, which is cool. We're gonna go to construction script, and because we want this to turn red in the viewport, and we want it to just have a material that we can change right in the viewport. I guess okay. So we gotta pivot for 1 second. So I'm gonna move this over here. I'm gonna right click in our content browser. I'm gonna create a material. A material is an object, or is basically what changes the look of a texture. Or I mean, it can do lots of things, but for this instance, it's going to change the look of a texture. So like everything here, if you look at the blue cubes, the grids, all that is just materials. So we're going to call this M light because it's going to be light. Call it M light. So right click, material, M for material, light. We're going to double click, and it pulls up this thing, which looks very confusing, and understandably, you're like, whoa, what the hell is happening? Don't worry about it. It's all pretty simple once you understand it, but we're not going to really explain it yet because I feel like that will just kind of, we don't need to worry about it. So what we are going to do is we're going to right click. Actually, no, we're going to press, no. Actually, here's an easier way. We're going to right click on emissive color, and we're going to hit promote to parameter. A parameter is anything that you can change from this texture in the game at a different time. So a static value, so if I just press 3 and I pull off of this and I say I want it to be super metallic, right? So I go boo, 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 it's super metallic. This cannot change in the game. So if I wanted it to suddenly, as it rusts, it gets less and less metallic, and then it's by the end of its, if I'm using a sword to chop and I want it to get rusty, it could never change. So it's good for some things, like if you're making a texture if I'm making a texture for a boat and the boat texture will never change, you don't need it to be a parameter. If you want it to change, then you want it to be a parameter. So yeah, we're going to do emissive color, and then off of that, we're going to do base color. So right now, it is going off of base color, and it's going off of emissive color. And now we're going to do save. I'm also going to rename this color, just for the ease of use. So I'm renaming the parameter that we made color, and I'm going to make it red just so it makes sense. I'm just making it red, so it's the default is red. Okay, so just to kind of there's a word for it. I don't remember what it is. Just a recap. There we go. Recap. We made a material that is going to be the material for our interactive object, red light, green light, which is a child of BP interaction base, which we made. And again, if any step of this is confusing, like say something and I can go back and like explain it, and I really don't mind. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the red light, green light. We're going to go to the construction script. We are going to do create. We're going to type in create dynamic material instance. Now what this is it creates a material that can change during the game. If I made this red, and I wanted to change it, but it wasn't a dynamic material, it just wouldn't change. I could change it, but it wouldn't change in the game. And we want it to be so that we interact with it and it changes. So what we're going to do is when it says parent, if you're selecting it already, you can hit the arrow button, or you can just right click on that or left click on that and type in light. And of course it doesn't bring up. Here we go, light. And then we're going to save that. We're going to right click on return value, which is basically just saying like, hey, we made this, here it is. It's like offering it to you on the platter of a reference, and you go, I'm going to promote to variable, and I'm going to rename DMI, which is just short for dynamic material instance. And then we're going to take the cube in the components thing over here, pull it off, and then it keeps getting really dark, if you can see, because my screen keeps going black for some reason, and I don't know why. We're going to do set material. Set material. Pull off of that. Pull into material. Take the dynamic material instance, pull it into the material part. And so you're saying, hey, I want the cube. I want the material of the cube, and the element index you don't need to worry about, because right now there's only one material. Sometimes if you have a really complex mesh, or sometimes you just want different parts of the object to have different materials. So if I was making a wall, right, and I wanted the interior of the wall to have really nice wallpaper, but I wanted the exterior to be brick, I could have, okay, like element 0 would be wallpaper, element 1 would be brick, and so that way you could set on one side brick, one side wallpaper. But we don't have that, so we can just leave it at 0, and you don't need to worry about it. So we're going to hit compile, and oh, I just realized this is not the right object. We're going to pull red light, green light into our scene, and it should be red, because it has we set the material in the construction script. If it were in begin play, it would look white, and then as soon as we hit play, it would apply all those things. Personally, I like being able to see it, so I put it in the construction script, but if for whatever reason you didn't want to, you could totally put it in the begin play, and it wouldn't really change much. Okay, so right now, just going to recap this little thing. You click on it, and it goes, hey, interactive. Nothing happens yet, but it's all set so that it will do shit when we want it to do shit. So we're going to go back to our red light, green light, and we're going to do interact. We're going to do event interact. We can also just double click on this if you wanted. And so again, this is basically the event when it is interacted with. This is what happens. So if all this stuff fires right and it goes, hey, you do implement the interface, do the interaction, the thing that you do when you get interacted with, and this is that thing. So we're going to pull our dynamic material instance off into our the graph, and we're going to say get, not set because we already set it, and we're going to do set vector parameter value. So we're going to do set vector parameter value off of the dynamic material instance. And if you remember, the parameter is called color. So this parameter name has to match that exactly. I actually don't know if it's case sensitive, but I always try to make sure. And so again, you go to your material, you find the parameter you want to change. This is a vector because if you look, there's four different numbers. Vectors can be 3 or 4. 4 is I don't even really know. The fourth one is in this it's usually opacity or intensity, but it doesn't really matter. Basically, you want to do set vector parameter value, and you want to make sure the parameter name is color. And the value we will do green. So you click on the value square, and you can set any color you want. You could do pink, you could do orange, you could do blue, whatever you want. And so we're going to go to our cube. So we're going to compile. If you press play, it will compile, but just for the sake of use, we're just going to hit compile. And we're going to go to our cube and go boom. Hell yeah, it turned green. Because, again, we have the interaction component on our player. The component, when you press your left mouse button, shoots out a ray that says, hey, are you, one, are you hitting anything? And two, are you an object that implements the interface we need? And if it passes all those checks, it saves a reference of the hit actor, which then we check and we go, hey, are you a valid reference or are you empty? And if it's empty, it also fucks off. But if all those things work, it goes, okay, cool. Like, we're going to send a message to whatever object we hit that implements its interface to do the event we need it to do, which then sends it over to here, and the event goes, hey, do whatever the fuck, or whatever the hell I'm supposed to do, which is to change color. We could do even something else. We could do, okay, let's do, pull off a value and do random. No, okay. Let's do it so that it changes color every time we press it. Let's see. Okay, we're going to do split pin. Yeah, we're going to split pin, which is basically taking all of these values, the red, the green, the blue, and we're going to do random float in range 0, 1. We're going to copy that, which for me is Control W for some reason, but it might not be that for you. And we're going to do this so that every time we click on it, it'll pick a random float, which is just vector is 3 numbers, float is, well, it's one. Vector is a set of 3 numbers. Well, set is confusing because set's a whole different type of variable, but it is a set of 3 numbers or 4 numbers, whereas float is just one number. It can have a lot of decimal points, but it's just a singular number. And so it's going to do a random, every time we click on it, it'll go, okay, we're going to do a totally random number. We're not going to do A because A is like the brightness, and I just don't want like a weird poop brown or something, which maybe you do, which is cool. So white, purple, green, blue, pink, all this stuff. So every time we click on it, it does a new color. Yeah. So I think, I think for the sake of not freaking everyone out, I'm going to cap it here. Also, I have to finish the rest of my food. But does that kind of make sense? Because I think like if this makes sense, then next week we can be like, okay, well, opening a door or picking up a key, or like, I mean, the interaction is kind of like the basis for, I mean, every game, right? Because a game is ideally you're affecting the world, and so generally how you affect it is you interact with it. And so I feel like, you know, like Flathead, for example. Like Flathead is just a series of interactions. So I guess for anyone here who can either type or speak or whatever, like, does this kind of make sense? And if it does, then I guess we can just catch up next week and we'll do something more meaningful, like open a door or pick up a key or, I don't know, punch a bad guy in the face or something. Yeah. But if it doesn't make sense, let me know, and I can go back and cover whatever is kind of not making sense. Yeah. So I think there's 6 people here, 4 people, 5 people, and 4 people in Discord. Are you guys feeling good? Did that make sense? No? Yes? If not, that's totally cool. If I don't hear anything, just going to assume it did make sense. Um, but yeah, if it didn't make sense and you're like, oh fuck, I couldn't get to my keyboard or my voice or whatever, um, you can just reach out in the chat and I can think about what to cover next week. Um, but yeah, it feels like this is like a good. Again, without knowing, this feels like a pretty good baseline to start out with, and about what you can. I don't know. You can go from here. And I think, yeah, I think it's game development is confusing, but it's just a series of small things that you understand. And I feel like the smaller you break it up, the more digestible it is. And I think a lot of things online for me, it's like, oh, they do like, oh, AI and all this shit. And it's like really cool, but it's easy to get really overwhelmed. And I think, yeah, I think breaking it up into smaller chunks can be useful. Um, yeah. So again, feel free to leave feedback in the chat or whatever, and be like, hey, yeah, this was actually super fucking confusing, and if you go slower, that would be awesome. Or not, or be like, it was cool. But with that, I think I'm gonna eat, so I don't pass out. But cool. I appreciate everyone for being here. Hopefully this was kind of helpful. If it wasn't, let me know. If it was, also let me know. And I guess just have a beautiful Friday. All right, cool. I'll see y'all later.